The distress beacon pierced through the void like a dying scream. Captain James Reynolds sat upright in his command chair aboard the Terran Vanguard, his fingers flying across the haptic interface as the signal resolved into coordinates. "It's coming from the Kepler 442 colony," his navigation officer reported, voice tight with concern. "Sir, that's deep in Zereth territory." James's jaw clenched. The Zereth Collective had made their position clear. Humans were prey animals, barely sentient creatures, useful only for labor and experimentation. The colony on Kepler 4 to be had been a foolish gamble, an attempt to establish a foothold in contested space. Now it seemed that gamble had failed. "Set course, maximum burn," James commanded. They arrived too late. The colony was a graveyard of twisted metal and frozen bodies. Atmospheric processors lay shattered, leaking their contents into the thin air. The Zereth had been thorough, as always. They took what they wanted and destroyed the rest. "Sir, I'm detecting a faint life sign," the sensor operator called out. Section 7, near the medical facility. James didn't wait. He assembled a rescue team and descended through the ash-choked atmosphere, their shuttle weaving between debris fields that had once been homes, schools, dreams. The snow had turned crimson. They found her crawling. Aliana Vasquez, the colony's chief xenobiologist, dragged herself across the frozen ground with arms that should not have been able to move. Her environmental suit was shredded, exposing flesh to temperatures that would kill a human in minutes. Her legs trailed uselessly behind her, broken in so many places they seemed boneless. But she crawled. In her arms, clutched against her chest with desperate strength, were Zereth cubs, younglings no more than a few months old, their silver fur matted with their mother's blood. "My God," breathed Corporal Chen, raising his weapon instinctively at the sight of the enemy species. "Stand down," James ordered. Rushing forward, he dropped to his knees beside Aliana, his hands hovering over her broken body, unsure where he could touch without causing more damage. Her eyes, those fierce brown eyes that had challenged him in 100 briefings, that had sparkled when she spoke about the possibility of understanding alien life, found his face. "James," she whispered, her voice a ghost. Blood bubbled at her lips. "The attack wasn't them. Rogue faction. These cubs, their mother tried to warn us. She died protecting the nursery." James looked down at the alien infants. They mewed softly, their large eyes so disturbingly intelligent, staring up at him with something that looked heartbreakingly like trust. "She told me ... Aliana coughed, red spreading across the snow beneath her. "Told me that not all Zereth believe humans are animals. Some of them study us, admire us. The mother, she was an ambassador, unauthorized, came to make contact." "Don't talk," James said, but his medical scanner was already giving him readings he didn't want to see. Massive internal hemorrhaging, spinal cord severed, organ failure cascading through her systems. Even in the shuttle, even with their best equipment, she had minutes at most. Aliana's hand shot out with startling speed, gripping his wrist with failing strength. "They killed her because she wanted peace. They killed everyone because they're afraid. Afraid that if we understand each other, if we see each other as equals." She coughed again, weaker now. "Promise me, James, promise me you'll get them home. To the moderate faction. Use the coordinates in my research files, Aliana, promise me." The shout cost her everything. She convulsed, and James saw the light beginning to fade. "I promise," he said, tears freezing on his cheeks. "I swear it," she smiled then, and it was beautiful and terrible. With the last of her strength, she lifted the cubs toward him. James took them gently, feeling their small hearts racing against his chest. "We're not prey," Aliana whispered. "We're not predators. We're something they never expected. We're better." Her eyes closed. They never opened again. 3 months later, James stood before the Zereth Council of Matrix, having run a gauntlet of political fury and military blockades to reach this moment. The cubs Gresh and Mala, he'd learned their names, clung to his shoulders, having imprinted on him during the long journey. "You came alone," the High Matriarch observed, her tone unreadable. "You, a military commander, crossed into our heartland with only a small crew." James stepped forward, acutely aware of the weapons trained on him from every angle. "Because a human woman died keeping these children alive. She crawled through blood and snow, her body destroyed, hypothermia shutting down her systems. By every law of biology, she should have died 100 meters back, but she didn't. Because humans don't give up. We don't abandon the innocent, even when they're the children of our enemies." He gently lifted the cubs down, setting them on the polished floor. They mewed in protest but toddled forward toward the matriarch. Dr. Aliana Vasquez died believing that understanding was possible. That peace was worth dying for. I'm here because I made her a promise, and humans keep their promises, even when it costs us everything." The chamber fell silent. The High Matriarch descended from her throne, ancient and massive, and lifted the cubs with surprising gentleness. Her eyes alien, yes, but gleaming with an intelligence that could no longer be denied. Met James's. "Your kind confuses us," she admitted. "You are physically weak, slow to mature. You should be prayed, yet you endure what would break steel. You sacrifice for strangers, for enemies." She looked down at the cubs. "My niece believed you were the future. She died for that belief." "So did Aliana," James said quietly. "Then perhaps," the matriarch said slowly, "we should ensure they did not die for nothing." It wasn't peace. Not yet, but it was a beginning crawled toward through blood and snow, carried forward by the indomitable will of a woman who refused to let hatred have the final word, even when it cost her everything, even when she never opened her eyes again. End.